Hello everybody, it's the World Child Protection Hub, and I'm Jay from Michigan. Today we're going to talk about the worst, the lowest of the low, the porn producers. They do sadistic stuff to children on camera. They make children do sadistic stuff to each other on camera, and they even use bestiality. It's disgusting. They're bottom feeders. Here's one now. Let me start up my wood chipper. We'll take care of all these.
Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
A Knightdale man and Raleigh woman are facing additional charges Saturday night stemming from a sex trafficking case involving a child. According to court documents obtained by the News, 39-year-old Claude Craven and 26-year-old Skylar Bell are facing a combined 52 additional charges for sex crimes involving a child. The two were arrested in November and charged with several sex-related crimes, including human trafficking and unlawful acts involving a child under the age of 10. Police also added an offense from months before the initial charges were filed. According to the initial arrest warrant, Craver he's also accused of directing Bell to perform sexual acts on the child while he recorded them. Sick people. The two were charged with human trafficking, sexual exploitation of a minor, and sexual servitude of a child, all of which are extreme felonies. Both are in the Wake County Detention Center under a no-bond hold. A Bucks County man wanted for the manufacturing and dissemination of child sexual abuse materials to children 13 and under was taken into custody by the U.S. Marshals in West Virginia Thursday night. The Bucks County District Attorney's Office charged Mr. Wills, doesn't have his first name here, a 60-year-old of Humville, with manufacturing hundreds of videos of child sexual abuse material and sharing them online, according to the U.S. Marshal Service. The children are believed to be from throughout the United States alone, and Wills was taken into custody at the Meadowbrook Mall in Bridgeport, West Virginia, around 8 o'clock in the evening. He's being held with no bond at the North Central Regional Jail in Doddridge County, awaiting extradition to Bucks County. The investigation began with two tips to none other than the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about someone, this chomo here, sharing files of images showing sexually abused children. The IP address of this account shared the images was traced back to Will's Humsville home. See it, chomo.
The FBI expanding its search now for victims in a disturbing child sexual exploitation case. And the details of this case, they're deeply troubling. And we do want to warn you that some of the information we're about to share may be difficult to hear, but investigators want to know if there's more victims. News 12's Edric Robinson outside the Department of Justice building in downtown Brooklyn with more. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Christy. This is a very sensitive and ongoing investigation. The FBI, along with the NYPD, are urgently seeking potential victims of child sexual exploitation, allegedly involving a 23-year-old man from our borough named Ramel Warner. Here's a look at Warner right here. The charges against him are incredibly serious. According to the FBI, Warner, who also goes by the nickname Mena, was indicted last month on one count of sexual exploitation of a child. Investigators say he allegedly raped a child back in 2022 while he was supposed to be babysitting. Now, what makes this case particularly disturbing is that Warner reportedly recorded 6 videos of the abuse and then distributed them on the dark web. The FBI's concern is that there may be other victims out there. Court documents reveal Warner had repeated access to children in several places, including school. schools. Investigators note he's also worked in after-school programs in Brooklyn, and at the time of his arrest was involved in a dance group for minors operating out of a local middle school. Of course, this access to children is why investigators are so worried that there may be more victims. The FBI is urging anyone with information about sexual exploitation by Ramel Warner to come forward. There's an email. We'll have this posted on our website at news12.com.
As you can see, I'm using bits of Biden's content because I've watched it many times, been there many times, and it's all news flashes. It's old stuff, but it's porno producers. It's a major problem nobody talks about. Nobody goes after them. Everybody goes after the predators, which is wonderful. As a matter of fact, Biden's got all kinds of advertisements for a lot of the pred catchers. Not all of them, by far, but a lot of them, and it's a good thing.
An Indiana man was arrested a second time after police discovered that he allegedly possessed and disseminated child sexual abuse material. The man was already on probation prior to his most recent arrest. According to court documents, the Montgomery County Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force received several cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. These tips indicated the images contained child sexual abuse materials and had been shared on an app called Kik between June and August of last year. After investigators received a warrant, they learned that one person was using multiple Kik accounts, but all under the same IP address. And using this information, the accounts were tied back to 22-year-old Blake Allen Dagley of Crawfordsville. A warrant was then executed on Dagley's home on Tuesday. Mr. Dagley here was previously sentenced to probation on 11th of July of last year for similar crimes. Probation, come on people. He was originally charged with 2 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, level 6 felonies, and 1 count of possession of marijuana. And check this out. Dagley only received a sentence for the marijuana charge. He was placed on 1 year probation, and the child sexual abuse material charges were dismissed. Wow.
A former student doctor pled guilty to child pornography charges. 28-year-old Kevin Weiss admitted to coercing a minor into producing sexually explicit material. According to the U.S. attorney, he also admitted to possessing more sexual material showing abuse of, quote, very young children. Court records state he was a student doctor at the Burnell College of Osteopathic Medicine. Weiss faces between 15 and 30 years in federal prison.
And a Las Vegas woman pled guilty to possessing child sexual abuse material and bestiality. Metro Police say Brenna Montgomery recorded sexual acts between herself and her dog. She's required to register as a sex offender and faces up to 7 years in prison.
Tonight, police arrested a Batesville man after they found tens of thousands of pornographic images and videos on his cell phone. A judge found probable cause to arrest 36-year-old Nathaniel Lloyd Nurdin on 4 counts of distributing, possessing, or viewing matter depicting sexually explicit conduct involving a child. He is booked into the Independence County Jail. ASP Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force received a cyber tip about suspected child sexual abuse material uploaded to an email address on a server. On January 9th, police served a search warrant on Nurdin's apartment. During the search, officers seized several electronics and his phone. After the phone was downloaded, there were 32,157 images and 1,743 videos that included adult, animal, and child porn. Nurdin is scheduled for court on February 11th.
All right, we are now learning new details about an Orange County middle school teacher who is accused of enticing minors to commit sex acts on video. 25-year-old Italo Brett Bonini was arrested on federal charges. West 2's Paula Tristan Arruda went to the home he lives in with his parents.
Nobody answered the door when we knocked on this home on Santa Clara Drive in Hunters Creek. According to a crime complaint, Idolo Brett Bonini, a music teacher at Hunters Creek Middle School, has lived here with his parents for years. He's accused of enticing two boys in Maryland to expose themselves and engage in sex acts in front of the computer during video calls so he could watch. Neighbors living nearby say they're shocked.
I was a kid in this neighborhood. I was a kid that went to the middle school. So it's honestly scary to hear that there are some sus things going on.
The complaint states the victim's father found disturbing messages on one of the boys' Discord chat between Bonini and the boy. The suspect also allegedly promised the children video game currency in exchange for the sex acts. After the arrest, the principal at the middle school sent a message out to parents.
This individual will not be returning to school during the investigation.
A Cottondale couple is facing child porn charges as well as charges related to sexual conduct with an animal. Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigators arrested 31-year-old Mark Swearingen and 20-year-old Mackenzie O'Brien yesterday on 11 felony counts of possession of child sexual abuse material. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children tipped off FDLE in November about an online storage platform filled with child porn. Investigators say they tracked the account to Swearingen. During the search of their home, they say that they discovered computer equipment containing the child porn, some of the images featuring a 1-year-old. Authorities say that they also found a video of O'Brien engaging in sexual acts with an animal. She's charged with sexual contact with an animal. Swearingen is charged with having an image of it. Both are in the Jackson County Jail. O'Brien's being held on $280,000 bond. Swearingen is being held on $560,000 bond.
Police arrested a man from Clinton on child pornography charges. Police arrested 45-year-old David Breeden on Monday for child pornography and child porn involving a victim under 13. Police say the investigation began when a technology company reported sharing of child sex abuse material to the Crimes Against Children Task Force. Detectives carried out several search warrants and found evidence that Breeden was producing child porn.
The director of cadet programs for the Civil Air Patrol has been arrested on child pornography charges. State police say 69-year-old Robert Giannopoulos of Pawtucket was sharing lewd files over the internet. He was issued $2,500 surety bail with no unsupervised contact with minors and limited internet use. No evidence of inappropriate involvement with any cadets at this time, who range from 12 to 18 years old. The Civil Air Patrol says they're aware of the allegations and Giannopoulos has been suspended.
Let's go to another case in the meantime. This one is against Darren Wilken and Tiona Mudley. It's expected to resume today in the Randburg Magistrates Court. The court previously heard that 3 countries issued extradition requests for Darren Wilken over child sex abuse images and videos. Wilken and his web designer girlfriend Mudley were arrested last month after an FBI-led investigation uncovered an estimated 10 million pieces of child sexual abuse material at their home. During previous court appearances, prosecutor Colleen Ryan presented evidence alleging that the accused distributed child sexual abuse material to multiple countries, generating millions of rands in sales. Now, SABC News reporter Lupang Alamu is on that story. Lupang, this is a very disturbing story and certainly one that, we would like to see some developments very quickly on it. Talk to us about what we're expecting today.
Me personally, I put the porn in 2 categories. 2. Number 1 is the ones who make it. They are sadistic. They do bestiality. They get off on control and taking innocence from children. That's what their kink is. And even bringing in animals. They're beyond sociopaths. They're into psychosis and they're dangerous. The second ones are the ones that hoard all them images and distribute them. And some of them even sell them. So it's 2-part. I'm showing both parts. I'm trying to find more on the ones who make it, but it's really hard to find.
All right, we'll head over to Illinois. A Pana man has been arrested and charged with possessing and distributing child sexual abuse material. The Illinois State Police Division of Criminal Investigation officials announced the arrest of 30-year-old Braxton Schaffenacker. On January 14th of this year, the state police there, Zone 4 Major Crimes Springfield agents, started an investigation into Schaffenacker allegedly possessing and disseminating child sexual abuse materials. And during the investigation, the ISP investigators gathered several digital evidence and indicated that Schaffenacker possessed child sexual abuse material at his house in Christian County. And on February 13th, the Illinois State Police executed a search warrant at Schaffenacker's residence and arrested him. Schaffenacker was charged with dissemination of child sexual abuse material, a Class X felony, and possession of child pornography, Class 2 felony.
A Metro Detroit man is under arrest and facing serious allegations involving minors on social media in Oakland County. We do want to bring in Priya Mann this noon, who is following this story for us. Priya?
This is a criminal complaint filed by the feds this week with allegations of child pornography coming out of Oakland County. The FBI is investigating Timothy Patrick Heigl for allegations of sexual exploitation of a minor and child pornography. The FBI first became notified last December of a Michigan State Police investigation into Heigl. It's alleged that he asked minors for explicit photos and after receiving them, paid the young victims for pictures with apps like Cash App or Venmo. The victims range in age from 14 years old to 17 years old. Now, in one case, one victim received a vape pen with marijuana. In another, some of the victims were paid with amounts ranging from $10 to $40 to $75. And in one case, the victim's boyfriend is the one who received the money. It's alleged that the young girls sent these explicit photos via Snapchat and then were paid on various apps. Now, we are working to learn more information about this Metro Detroit man, and we'll have much more for you tonight at 5.
New at 10, a former Hutchinson County Sheriff's Office deputy has been arrested and charged with possession of child pornography.
The Texas Department of Public Safety Criminal Investigation Division special agents received a tip saying the former deputy had child pornography. Now, following the tip, officers launched an investigation into 38-year-old Drennan Rogers, and on February 14th, CID special agents searched Rogers' home in Borger. Now, as a result of the search, Rogers was arrested and charged with possession of child pornography. DPS says Roger was booked into the Hutchinson County Jail and an investigation is ongoing.
One man is charged for having over 1,000 images of child pornography generated by AI. This is the first arrest of its kind for the Martin County Sheriff's Office following the introduction of a law that makes it illegal to do just that. 29-year-old Leonel Alvarado Lozano is accused of asking an artificial intelligence platform to generate images of child porn.
This individual that was arrested was depicting grown adults having sexual intercourse with infants, children under 3 years old. So that shows you the mindset that this pervert had.
A new Florida law makes it a crime to possess or create computer-generated child pornography. Martin County Sheriff John Budenseek says the evidence in the case is extensive.
We can see exactly what that individual was thinking, meaning that they went on there and said they wanted to see a certain sex act with a certain age child, with a certain type of adult.
These AI crimes are a new territory for both law enforcement and organizations like Catch the Wave of Hope, which fights child exploitation.
It's almost kind of made it easier. These predators don't even have to leave their house anymore, right, to exploit a child.
Sarah Henry is executive director and warns parents how AI can manipulate real photos of children.
These predators can take an image from, a social media or wherever and, then kind of copy paste and alter it, to an AI sort of image where maybe it's just a picture of a face, but they put the face on a body.
Sheriff Budenseek says while it seems like a victimless crime, he worries it could be a stepping stone to something even more egregious.
We've seen in the past where individuals progress down this path of, if they have the opportunity, they actually act on their sexual impulses.
Alvarado Lozano faces 20 counts of possession of AI-generated child pornography, which is a third-degree felony. Cassandra Garcia, WPTV News.
A teacher in Holly Hill is behind bars accused of using AI to make child pornography.
And get this, investigators say he used his students' pictures to make the fake pornography. Fox 35's Randy Hildreth is live in studio tonight. So, Randy, this is terrifying for parents.
Yeah, good evening to you both. You can imagine what parents are thinking right now. And get this, he's also accused of sharing and downloading about 30 images while he was at work and used the school's Wi-Fi. That's according to investigators. So this is the man we're talking about. His name, David McKeown. He was a 6th grade teacher at UBIC Academy in Holly Hill. Right now, he faces 19 charges related to child sex abuse material and animal sex abuse, and he could face additional charges. Now, this investigation started earlier this month after a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. McKeown was arrested yesterday, and detectives seized devices from his house and the school. Now, Florida's Attorney General James Uthmeyer released a statement about the allegations, saying in part, quote, as a teacher, parents trusted Mr. McKeown to impart knowledge to their children. Instead, he spent parts of the school day sending and receiving child sex abuse material and providing other pedophiles with UBIC Academy students' personal information. Now, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Commissioner Mark Glass said this, in part saying, at FDLE, we will never allow predators to hide behind screens or school walls. We will track them down, expose them, and bring them to justice. Fox 35 spoke with retired law enforcement about what parents can do to protect their child as technology changes.
If your child tells you, hey, something doesn't seem right with this teacher or this person, don't ignore that. Take a listen, and you may want to act on it to follow up on those suspicions.
McKeown was booked into the Volusia County Jail, where he remains with no bond. If convicted, he could face up to 315 years in prison. In the studio, Randy Hildreth, Fox 35 News.
It's a 20-count indictment against one of the men in Licking County Court. He's accused of sharing videos and pictures of adults having sex with children, and he is even charged with having sex with a dog.
It's shocking when you hear the details of it.
That's the word from the executive director of the Licking County Humane Society. Her office was called out on Christmas Eve to confiscate dogs and later more than 60 sheep. According to the indictment, it all started in June when the sheriff's office got a tip about someone sharing videos and pictures of child pornography. It led them here, a home in rural Licking County, and it led them to this man, 40-year-old Trent Willard. It wasn't until Christmas Eve that detectives were able to compile enough evidence and arrest Willard, who admitted to detectives he's got a problem with child porn.
During the course of investigating that case, that law enforcement had become aware of some animal cruelty as well.
That included videos of Willard having sex with a dog.
There were 4 dogs on the property, and one in particular that we could verify who was the victim of sexual abuse.
That would be this dog, Sam. Humane Society agents posted this video on their Facebook page of them working with Sam. The dog and the sheep belonged to this man, 69-year-old John Moran. Investigators say Moran had Willard over to his home to abuse the dog.
It is monstrous. When people hurt kids and animals, or seniors, or anybody who has a disadvantage, it's just, I don't know, it's very discouraging.
The executive director of the Licking County Humane Society says this last month has taken a toll on her employees with a couple of high-profile cases. We'll tell you more about that coming up at 6 o'clock. But for now, on your side, in Newark, I'm Tom Bosco, ABC 6 News.
Shocking discovery, a psychologist facing child pornography charges. Hundreds of images allegedly found hidden in a secret room in his home. And it wasn't police who made the discovery. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. Tonight, the Danvers man is under arrest and his neighbors are stunned. WBZ's Christina Rex is live for us in Danvers tonight with more, Christina, on how that secret room was discovered.
Yeah, Lisa.
Lisa and David, as Danvers police say they were searching Mark Ternullo's home, they say he went to his office in Beverly, where he works as a psychologist who treats families and children. Inside this Danvers home is where police say they found nearly 1,000 pictures of child pornography inside the apartment of 68-year-old Mark Ternullo.
They're supposed to start working in the bathroom, I guess, from what I understand.
As contractors were doing renovations on Ternullo's bathroom Wednesday, they discovered the pictures in a hidden room and called the landlord. According to the police report, these images were located throughout the apartment, with the majority in the secret room/void and in the bedroom or home office.
I mean, if it was really his, who knows?
But investigators say the pictures are Ternullo's, and they can tell because also in the photograph is a superimposed image of a white male, gray hair, and completely nude. A picture of Ternullo himself, allegedly pasted onto images of children in inappropriate and suggestive positions.
Only in passing.
Neighbor Aaron Bartlett has lived on the first floor for 10 years, while the suspect has lived upstairs for more than 2 decades. But he says he barely knows the man.
He would come out, I would say hi to him, he would say hi to me, and really that was it. He wasn't one to have conversations, long conversations with people.
And Mark Ternullo pleaded not guilty in court today at his arraignment. A judge ordered he be held on $10,000 bail, and if he made bail, he'd have to be on house arrest, and he'd be unable to contact anyone under the age of 18. Live in Danvers, Christina Rex, WBZ News.
Christina, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. I asked to meet with you because I want to introduce you to someone who was a horrific, nasty, vicious, worthless human being. That's all the adjectives I can use on public television. This is Carlos Calderon. Carlos is 41 years old. He's married. And guess what he did? He sexually abused a child that he had access to. And he started sexually abusing this child when she was 7 years old. This child has been abused consistently. He admitted, he confessed that he has sexually battered and sexually abused the child and created child pornography with the child, and that when we asked him during his confession, how many times did you do this? And here's his quote, because I don't talk that way. Oh, hell, I don't know. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You sexually abused a child so many times, you don't even know how many? So we look back at his criminal history, and here's what we found out. He's been arrested 6 different times for driving while license suspended or revoked. 6 times. He's been arrested for possession of K2. He's been arrested for violation of probation. Oh, did I mention to you that he's an alien from Mexico? Carlos told us that he was here on an expired work visa from Mexico. We have an ICE warrant that said he is removable from the country. However, other data we've gathered says, well, he's here on a valid work permit, and he was in the process of applying for permanent residency. I don't think this is someone we want in our country, except now that he will probably be here for the rest of his natural life if he's convicted, because these are life felonies that he's committed. So we have this guy in our county jail at taxpayers' cost. Ultimately, our goal is to convict him and send him to prison for the rest of his life for these horrible things that he did to this beautiful little girl. And when you look, he's an alien from another country. I can't tell you how horrible the information was that we received from this child. His confession, do you know what he told us? Are you ready for this? Here's what he told us. It's not my fault. It's hers. She encouraged it. What? She's 7? She's now 12? She encouraged it? You're a 41-year-old man? And you're suggesting that this person, this baby, this child encouraged it? Not his fault. This is a horrible person. This is a horrible person to abuse a child the way that he did. So, even though there's an ICE order that says he is removable from the country, we're not going to let him be removed from this country. We're going to do our very best to send him to the prison system in this country for the rest of his life. Unless, upon conviction, Mexico agrees to incarcerate him in Mexico for the rest of his life, which I don't even know that's possible. Are there any questions?
Do you fear that there may be more victims out there? That he has access to more little girls?
Well, obviously, he's walking around in society. He had access to other children as well. We don't know of any other victims at this point in our investigation. This investigation has just come to our attention, and we just are in the initial stages of the investigation. Obviously, if there are other victims, we want to know about that, but I am beyond mortified at his horrific, abusive, deviant conduct. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us who alerted deputies or PCSO about this?
No, I can't, because to do so would release information that is sensitive. But I can tell you that Carlos confessed, but he blamed the child, and he didn't provide the details that the child provided for us. But at the end of the day, he was in this country committing life felonies, 30-year felonies, making child porn with a baby. This is who we try to protect people from when we do these predator operations. This is the guy, a snapshot, a poster child of the deviant people that walk around in society, make photographs and child pornography of children, put it online. Here's your poster child right here.
We know from the arrest affidavit that this happened to the girl at 7 and at age 11. What inspired her to speak up now?
This occurred from the time she was 7 all the way through the time she was 12 years old. This consistently occurred at different levels of sadistic behavior depending on her age. But the sexual abuse started when she was 7 and continued through 12 years of age. And I have no idea what caused this to come to the attention of the adults who reported it to us, or how much denial there had been in the past. There'll be a lot of investigation to go.
Sheriff, has your detectives been able to interview the wife? Did she express any shock or knowledge of what was going on for all these years?
The wife of this man was totally shocked, was 100% cooperative with us, and couldn't believe that he was capable of such conduct. This man and his wife do have children. I'm not sure how many.
Is his wife's immigration status in question? You know?
I'm not familiar with what that whether or not she is a citizen of this country or is here from another country. I don't know her status at all.
And I apologize if I missed this in your initial remarks, but you said it was, is it so at this point, is it unclear if he was legally allowed to be here pending that work?
Well, I know this comes as a great shock to you, but the federal government shut down. And we're having trouble getting detailed information. What Carlos tells us is he's here on an expired work visa from Mexico. The data we've been able to obtain is that ICE has issued a warrant saying that he is removable from the country. And then there's other data that said he has a valid work permit and that he was in the process of applying for a permanent residency. Now put all that together and understand that regardless of his status, he's been here in this country sexually abusing a child from 7 years of age to 12 years of age that he had access to by being in this country. And now the taxpayers are going to pay to keep him in prison for the rest of his life if and when he's convicted.
2 questions, Sheriff.
Just two?
For the moment. How old is the victim now? And
12. That's one question. You got one more.
that answers both.
All right. I don't know what he did for a living. The last I heard, he was unemployed, that his wife was working. So his wife's working. She's taking care of the family. Gives you time to wander around town and sexually abuse a child. Oh, there's no words to explain this. There is no words to explain how horrible this is, how horrible this conduct is by this person.
His work visa, do you know where that was for? What company?
I have no idea.
Sheriff, I apologize if you have to repeat this.
I don't mind. I know it's a long way from St. Petersburg.
It's a bit of a drive, I appreciate it. When he was asked how many times he had assaulted this girl, how did he respond?
When we ask him during the interview, during the confession, and he's busy telling us that he did this, but it was her fault. We go, well, just how many times did you inappropriately touch this child? His quote was, oh, hell, I don't know. But what we know is that this sexual abuse of this child started when she was 7, and it continued until she was 12 years of age, and it occurred on a continuous basis between 7 and 12. One more look at him. You ought not to forget the face of a pedophile, of a deviant, of someone who sexually abuses a baby and then takes photographs to make child porn of the baby.
Is there any indication that child pornography may have traveled who knows where out of the country?
We've just seized his electronic devices. Quite frankly, he thought it was erased. He was surprised that we found it. But newsflash, we're pretty good at that. And we're so early in the investigation, we can't tell whether or not yet at this point in the investigation, whether he's sent it out to the universe. But, I mean, it's bad enough and ugly enough and filthy enough to abuse a child like this. And to do it for this many years is times a million. And then to take pornographic child porn pictures of the child that you're sexually abusing, there aren't words to describe that. The adjective I've used is only what you can say publicly. You know, This guy's got a gift of air to breathe. And think what, it's not only the horrific conduct he's already done to the child, but now the child has got to endure that for the rest of her life.
Do we know if he was a coach of any like youth soccer leagues or anything like that?
I have no idea. But if I did, I would have told you. So anyway, there's the story for the day. You know, when you think you've seen all the deviant, worthless people by their horrible conduct toward children, you always find one more. And here's one more. And my word is, if there's someone out there hiding another person that would do something like that, don't hide them anymore. Say something. Call Crime Stoppers. If you think your child might have been victimized by him, and we have no other information that he's victimized another child, but if you ever lived next door, across the street, you know him, figure out whether or not he's had access to your children as well.
Sheriff, you said you hope he's not deported?
Well, he can't be deported, and certain now he can't be deported because we've got him locked up on life felonies, and our goal is to see that he goes to prison for the rest of his life. Therefore, the taxpayers of the state of Florida will have to pay for him for the rest of his life because we want that rascal locked up. There's no way in the world that we would ever agree to any kind of a plea that would allow him to get out, whether you agreed to leave the country or not. This guy needs to be in prison for the rest of his life. That means we pay for him. He doesn't need to be worried about being deported by ICE. That's the last of his concern right now. Because if we convict him, and he certainly has the right to a trial, a jury trial, and we're glad to give it to him. But our goal is, if he wants that, we'll give him that, and we'll do our best to convict him. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
At 5 tonight, 6 Central Ohio men have been charged with sex crimes, including child pornography. The U.S. Attorney General of the Southern District of Ohio held a news conference on those charges this morning. NBC4's Tyler Carter is live from downtown Columbus with more on these disturbing allegations. Tyler?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mark. That's exactly what the U.S. Attorney General of the Southern District of Ohio said. This is a very disturbing case. Graphic detail outlined in the complaints. The U.S. Attorney General says that he hopes that this finally has come to an end. Disturbing details outlined in 6 criminal complaints. 6 Central Ohio men charged with child pornography. 48-year-old Timothy Sullivan of Canal Winchester, 62-year-old Franklin Perry of Columbus, 42-year-old Brian Perkins of Mount Vernon, 28-year-old Grant Mikowski, 33-year-old Eric Savelli of Columbus, and a man at the center of this case, 34-year-old William Weekly.
One man, a 34-year-old man from Newark, William Weekly, had regular access to a 10-year-old girl. This was about a year ago. And he sexually abused her in really horrible ways.
According to the 14-page indictment, the abuse occurred from October 2017 to January of this year. The months-long investigation began when an undercover agent with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, working with the FBI Crimes Against Children Task Force, began communicating with Weekly.
What makes all of this even worse, though, is that he then communicated with these 5 other people, initially making contact over Craigslist personal ads.
Investigators say Weekly used his cell phone to create numerous sexual explicit images with the 10-year-old. He's accused of sending those images to the other suspects, either online or through text messages. At one point, investigators say Perry sexually abused the underage girl. A second underage child was also identified as a victim of Savelli's.
Anyone who was communicating with the people who are charged today about this kind of topic, even if it's not about this particular girl, we're going to do our best to track all of them down too. But that's a longer process, and it could go well beyond Central Ohio.
And Glassman says that he cannot tell us the location of where the two girls are at this moment, but that they are safe and that they have received medical and psychological treatment. Live and local for you from downtown Columbus, Tyler Carter, NBC4.
Thank you, Tyler.
I can't say what I really think about people who produce child porn, who film themselves doing this, or have someone else around filming them doing this. I mean, and then they bring, I don't know how many times, about 5 or 6 times, they bring in animals. That's bestiality. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's beyond sociopath. That's psycho. Sadism is across the line. To be sadistic, that's psycho. Okay? They're, doing one thing, and then they get bored with that, so they traffic the kid, or else they get worse, and do worse, and do worse, because they gotta keep, once they get bored, they gotta keep doing something to get that fix, that feeling, their kink. That's dangerous. They're dangerous people, and they're all among all of us. The court's hands are tied. The police hands are tied. What it is, we all need to get together. All get together and go ahead and get with our representatives in the states. Florida's got some good laws. We need to get. I know a whole bunch of pred catchers. We need to get together, because I don't care about channel fighting, infighting, and all that bull. There's one thing you gotta remember. This is all about the kids. That when it comes right down to it, it's about the kids. If it's about the money to you, or if it's about the fight, then you're not doing this for the right reason. I hope that the survivors of this get help, get healing, get that weight off their shoulders, and get that pain out of their heart. And the only way they can do that is by actually coming forward and having places to go and having people talk that had the same experience. That's the only way they can do it. And we're getting more and more and more, but we need more. We need more all over this world. Remember, I love y'all. And remember, I want you to be safe out there. And I want you to have a great life. See ya.